Another day, another video. This one is all about school. Now, even though I am done school, we are still going to be talking about some things about school. The first being, this semester I did take 6 classes, one being with the lab class itself, so I actually count that as another class. So that would make it 7 classes. I did 7 classes plus 24 hours a week work schedule. 24 hours being the lowest amount of time that I would work. It usually was higher. And then, yeah, nothing else because I really lost everything else with that. So this video is all about how did I juggle it? What can you do to push yourself and exceed in the educational sphere? I will say I have gotten my results for my first 2 classes. I did finish with a 4.0 for both classes. I'm extremely grateful. I literally just finished my exams yesterday. I had 4 exams. The first being I started at 2 a.m. The next exam was 9 to 12. The third exam was 2 to 4, and the fourth exam was 6 to 8. The reason the last class was so late is actually I had to move it. So if that's any proof of what taking 7 classes is like, it's very stressful. I unfortunately couldn't work this week because of my finals. I did prioritize it, and that's actually the first thing I'm going to mention. Making a priority. With taking 7 classes, it's not a run in the park. I am lucky that it is online, so I don't have to go to campus to do my classes, but that doesn't excuse the fact that I had to work just as hard at home than I did on campus. Now, I did have sorry about that, the camera cut. Now, I did have the luxury of doing it from home, but with that comes responsibility. I had to prioritize school before anything, including my work schedule, including my social life. Now, COVID did help with the social life aspect, but it was extremely hard. I had multiple breakdowns. I won't be showing me crying on video, but let's just say at one point I accidentally did catch a recording of it. And it was rough. It was a rough term, but honestly, I would do it again. I would take those classes again because it's genuinely classes I enjoy taking. So I am very grateful about that, but I do want to say that it's not easy. It's not a run in the park. It's not easy at all. So we're going to discuss what I did to push me forward in all my classes. Now, we did talk about prioritizing. I did lose a social life. I didn't really talk with my friends. My best friends understood that I had classes. If I didn't have time for me to sleep, there's not a lot of time for me to even talk. I did work during the day, and I did do my schoolwork during night. The reason being I am more productive at night, and during the day I did try to do content, which I don't include as a work. It's more of a luxury, but I did make time to do things like that because I genuinely wanted to. Now, with that being said, I lost a social life. That's an obvious. I did also work. Now, honestly, if you have the capabilities, I would say maybe restrict your scheduling. I did work a lot of hours. Although I wouldn't take that back, I would say that it did drain my energy a lot because I would come home, not even an hour, 2 hours, I would work my schoolwork. And with 7 classes, that's a lot of time. I did have to work from a lot of nights. I would start at 11:30. We're back. Sorry about the interruptions, y'all. So I did have to start at 11:30, and my night would actually end around 3:30. I would sleep until 9, and then I would start it all over again. It was hard. Really hard. The hardest thing. The second thing is I had to schedule like crazy. Whenever I had really busy weeks, I would actually do time blocking, which I find really productive, but I wouldn't recommend it doing constantly, at least for me. The reason being, when you block time, you need to take account into everything that you're blocking the time for. I would forget sometimes that I need to eat during the day. I would forget that. Yes, I forgot that I had to eat. So sometimes I'd go to work and I didn't eat breakfast. I would just have my tea while I did my work and I would go straight to it. Now, with saying that I would finish at 3:30, I would pick that up in the morning again if I didn't have the shift in the morning. So, it was really tricky. Now, with that being said, if you are going to do this, rather than time blocking, I would actually do a to-do list. Being at the top, the 3 things you need to get done. It's non-negotiable. It needs to be done by today. As you go down, it has less of priority to be done. If it's not done today, you can do it tomorrow. So with that, especially with papers, 7 classes meant I had around 14 papers for sure. I had for my labs, I constantly had assignments to do. For my classes, it would vary. I got lucky with some of my classes that how do I say this? It was more of an activity rather than quiz-like, but I did have quizzes every week for 2 of my classes. I did have multiple midterms. Now, this is the tricky one. With having multiple midterms, I would have to not disassociate, but I would have to be able to separate one class to another if both classes had an exam that day. So when I'm studying, even though I have at the back of my mind I have to take another test, I needed to remember that that's not my only class. I have to think of what I'm doing in the moment, which was kind of tricky for me, I won't even lie, because I get stressed real easily, and I did it a lot, let's just say. The second is organizing. Now, I did talk about the first being organizing, but it was mainly to organize your day. You should also organize your whole semester, including due dates and whatnot. And I did that through using Notion. Notion really helped me. It came in clutch. My to-do list was on there, my weekly to-do list was on there, and my monthly schedules. Now, what I did is the beginning of the semester, I just put everything out. So I laid it all out, including my finals, any major papers, even the small assignments. I put them all. It did take me around a day to do all of that, which is proof that it is tedious, but it actually came in handy. I would check it during my shifts to make sure that I'm on track with my school stuff. And with taking 7 classes, I didn't want to just take the classes. It's classes that I enjoyed and both wanted to excel, and I actually wanted to get something out of it. So I did my own research at times, and I wanted to make time for that. So organizing everything is really helpful when you take a lot of classes. And then came the fun part. I must admit, at the moment, I didn't really like doing this. It was making time for hobbies. I will say during this semester, I was extremely stressed. I was drained. So I didn't get to do this, but honestly, if you have the opportunity to, maybe decrease your work schedule if you're in the position that you can do that, and make time for things that propel your life forward, or at least in the moment will give you a break. For me, that's working out, that's reading, surprisingly. And when I say reading, I'm not reading class material. I'm reading my own material that I want to read. So I would definitely recommend doing that because your brain does need a break. It can't always be intaking information like this, and it needs to be able to rest. Although sleeping does that for you, sleeping also processes what you've learned during the day. So your mind really isn't resting. And I found that like my mental state really did suffer this year entirely. Throughout the year, I did take classes that were really heavy. They were really heavy classes, so I was drained. I'm so glad it's over, but I do have to say I learned a lot from doing it. I learned that if you truly you want something, you need to go get it yourself. You can't expect anyone else to do that for you, and you really can't expect how do I say this? See, I don't want to say I don't want to phrase it inappropriately, but I don't know how to portray it without saying that. You need to get your shit together, or you need to get your life together, because it's your life at the end of the day. No one's living your life. And for me, taking all these classes, at the end of the day, even though I did feel drained, I loved it. I loved learning of the stuff I was learning about. It was it was English. Great. This is where my mind's at after taking 4 exams yesterday, y'all. Like, I literally just did it yesterday. But it's interesting for me. I loved it. And maybe that's not for you. But if anything, prioritize what you want to do. Maybe you want to develop something. Maybe you want to start something. Maybe you're in the process. But honestly, make that time for it. And the more time you make for it, the more you're able to progress within it. So for me, yes, that's my education. I had to make more time to study because I was taking that many more classes, but I would never take it back. Oh my God, we should just have a count on how many times I said never take it back. But like, I would do it again, and I would do it again with different classes because I genuinely love taking the classes I did. I am an academics person. I've always been one, and it's always been within me to do that. I've never been the type where it's always been told. Yes, it's been expected, but I'm lucky enough that it's something that I enjoy doing. And I'm lucky with the people around me. I've noticed that it's not the end all be all. You don't need to be in the school system to be successful. And that might sound it might sound like I'm talking about polar opposites since this is a video talking about education, but honestly, if you're passionate about something, go for it. I got lucky enough that I'm passionate in progressing in my education because that is something that I want to pursue. I am beyond blessed that that's what happened for me, but I do know that in our day and age, it's 2021. We can do anything. We have the internet. We have everything around us. And even though this video is supposed to be talking about me juggling 7 classes, what pushed me through to juggle those 7 classes is the joy I got every time I read the material. The joy I got every time I finished the exam. Not studying for the exam, finish the exam. Because I did that. That's what I would tell myself afterwards. I did that. And there's something about doing what you love that no matter how much time it takes, at the end of the day, you will have satisfaction. And I was lucky enough that this is what it was. So yes, I took 7 classes. Honestly, you lose a social life. I don't know how. I did COVID. Well, no, I didn't do COVID. But I got lucky that it's during COVID time. And that's one of the reasons why I did do 7 classes. I knew I had more time on my hands and I wanted to take advantage of that. Organization is key. But at the end of the day, do what you want. Like, if it makes you happy, no one else can tell you that this isn't it because they're not you. And yeah, so I know this was a really chatty video. Sorry, but I'll see y'all next time. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked what you saw, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share with people who you think would benefit from hearing this. Okay, bye y'all. See y'all next time.